Owners, when they're hiring their first salesperson, have an expectation that that person is going to step in and close at the level that they've been closing.
Mm.
And most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, the people come in and they close at a lower rate. And they grapple with this decision. And this is really just your first hire. I mean, once you have somebody and you hire your second and your third salesperson, this goes away. But then they have this thing where like, oh, am I better off owning this and keeping it and not losing the those sales that we didn't close? What do you say to those people? How should they approach that? How long should that take? How do they get somebody to close at or better than the rate that they were closing? I'm sure that you're seeing this with people who are just starting to build their first sales team. So, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that are that ultimately, typically, from my perspective, what I have seen is that if somebody is doing their own sales calls, it's usually because the business is a little bit smaller. I'm not saying small, but I'm saying smaller than like a large giant place. And so people are already used to seeing that person's face, seeing and hearing from that person, right? So if they jump on a call with that person, it's going to be an easy close, quote unquote, easy close, because they already are very familiar with that human, right?
Hmm.
But then the problem is, and this is actually something that I helped one of my clients through last year. So we started chatting. She was like, "Can you just give me an idea of how to like create a sales team?" Sure, can do. So we did, and she created a sales team, but she ended up the reason that she asked me is what was because she was spending 30 hours a week on sales calls. And she was making really good money doing it because she was closing at a really high rate, but she was burnt out and she was ready to like throw the business away. She was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I can't spend this much time talking to potential clients and closing 50%. I need to only be spending my expertise talking to clients, right? And so over the next like 6 months, we built out a sales system that alleviated her from the sales role and put in place a sales team. So, and I was there for like the training and the all that stuff. But anyways, at the end, we had our highest launch revenue ever, and she did none of the calls. She was not involved in that in any way, right? And so she was then able to see the same results, but she didn't have to take the sales. And so what I'm kind of saying here is like, in the beginning, there may be a trial process, a learning process of like, okay, how do we understand? But that's what I do. I work with whoever I'm any of my clients and say, okay, what do I need to know in order to bring this to the sales team? And my goal is to separate yourself as the firm owner and the people who are selling.